Hi, it's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Today we're going to be making these Santa slippers, and they're sort of slipper socks, and they're like a tube sock. So we're not going to be doing a heel, we're not going to be doing a toe. We are going to be doing a cuff, and they're really simple, and you could probably whip out these pretty fast. Instead of the tighter knit sock loom that I usually use, I'm just using this round one. It's not the smallest 5.5, but it's the next one. It's not the hat one. It's the one in between the hat and the smallest one that comes with that standard round set. And I chose to use this because I went ahead and washed this one to see how much it would shrink. It's going to look, the one that hasn't been washed when we get it off the loom will look sizably bigger. It shrunk. This is acrylic. I used acrylic yarns except for on the belt. This is a wool down here. And I sort of had to use that out of necessity. I didn't have any black yarn at the time. And I do have a great big huge spool of this finer, it's like a charcoal gray and black mixture wool. So I thought, well, let's use that up on Santa's belt. At the time I was waiting for my black yarn and it was back ordered. It has since then arrived, but I've already started it, so we'll use it on a different project. So I'm going to be doing this sock video about the Santa socks, and then I'll be doing a second video that utilizes the same concept and almost the same identical pattern, only we're going to be making loveys, or like little kids stuffed Santas out of them. So that'll be a different one, but it's going to be essentially the same product, same video, but there's going to be some things changed up on it that will make it into a toy instead of a sock. So let's look at what we're doing on the loom here. You could use, like I said, if you want to make the smaller 5.5-inch loom, we'll make a woman's sock to about a size 8. So a woman's 5 to about an 8. With shrinkage, I'd say it's more like a 5 to a 7. Unless you want a really tight sock, then it's going to be a 7.5. That's what I wear, a 7.5, and it will fit tighter. I'm just trying to make slippers so they'll be looser than the tight sock ones. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. You can use a regular sock loom. You can use the small one if you're doing women's or a child. If you're doing like I'd say, a child side, an older child side, this is going to probably be good because it's going to shrink. This acrylic yarn is going to shrink up. But for what I'm doing is I'm doing the larger size. My son wears a 9 shoe, but he has pretty thick calves. Get with that, what size. The idea is going to be the same. No matter what size you do, the pattern that we're going to be using will be basically the same. So what I did was I'm using this is a weight of 4 acrylic yarn, and this is just the Red Heart red yarn. I think it was just red. I think that was the color. I don't even think they tried to give it a name. It was just like red. Any red will do because it's going to be Santa. So I have loom knitted for approximately 3 inches. And we're going to make a cuff. So I'm going to show you how to make a cuff in case you don't know how. We're just doing the E-wrap. That's all I ever do is the E-wrap. After you've knitted for approximately 3 inches, because remember we're going to fold in half. So whatever you knit, half of that is going to be your cuff. So if you want a smaller cuff, I wouldn't, using the double strand of yarn, which is necessary since we're using these wide pegs, and it would leave big gaps if we didn't use the double strand. I don't like chunky yarn. To me, it just comes out too big, but using double yarn to me works fine. So it's up to you, your preferences, but that's what I'm using. So whatever you knit and fold in half is going to be how wide your cuff is. I think anything under an inch starts looking weird and like a rolly thing. So try to aim for about 3 inches, and that way when you fold it over, your cuff is going to be about an 1.5 inches long right there. So we've knitted for approximately 3 inches. I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to feed it out here, make sure it's out here so it doesn't get in the way. Then you see all these little loops that we've got here at the end. I'm just going to pull those over, and you can just put this on a flat surface. You don't even have to use your hook if you don't want it, because it's big enough that you can just go around, and you're just going to put those loops over your pegs. Hooked all my loops over my pegs. So now I've got a double row and they're all hooked on there. And see, you can see the cuff. It's folded over. It's going to end up like this. So now we're going to just take our hook and we're just going to go around just like we were loom knitting, and we're going to move those bottom loops over the top loops. Got it all the way around, and now I have a cuff. Now, what I'm going to do for Santa, I'm using my index finger as a guide. I think I've addressed this on videos and in the comments before. Most people's index finger is between 3 and 4 inches long. Most people's first digit, little bendy thing on the top, is about 1 inch long. You can use a ruler, you can use your finger, you measure your finger and see what yours is. Mine is almost exactly 1 inch, so I just tend to use my finger. We're going to knit for approximately 2.5 inches after the cuff, not counting the cuff. So I'm just going to use red until I get to that point, and then I'm going to tie it off onto white yarn, and then we're going to talk about that. So let me get started. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to knit for 2.5 inches, and then when we come back, we're going to start the white. Before I go and do my red knitting here, let's look really quickly at what we're going to be doing on Santa. So we've done his cuff. We're going to do, this is the hat part. And then we're going to have the white trim, his face, and you can do your flesh tone any color you want. If you want an African American, a Hispanic, if you want an Asian, whatever color tone you want to make his flesh, his skin. And when I say flesh, I meant like his skin, not flesh tone, not peach. But whatever you want to do is fine. And then we're going to do his beard, and then we're going to do his shirt, then we're going to do his belt, and then we're going to do the rest of them. So that's what we're sort of breaking down the look of Santa Claus into stripes is what basically we're doing. And we're going to go back and we will embroider eyes and a little nose. And so that's the concept of what we're doing, and it's just a slipper sock. So he's a little longer. Goes about like that when it's on. This is like the foot right here. And I've already washed mine, so this one has already shrunk up. So we'll be able to compare the unshrunk version to the shrunk version. I thought that's important. It's always important for me to see what the finished product is going to be, because sometimes it comes out a lot bigger and you're like, oh my God, that's huge. But then when you shrink it, it's too small. And like I said, remember, I'm doing slipper socks, so I'm assuming the kid probably already has socks on underneath these. They're just extra warmth. If you want to do socks, probably, use a sock loom, or you can use an adjustable sock loom, which I have. I just wanted to whip these out and make the slipper socks. So let me go do my red, and when we come back, we'll do the white stripe and we'll talk about it. Okay, I have gone ahead and knitted the, what would we say, almost 2.5 inches. And now I'm going to, and how I'm going to change it out, I'm just going to take the two ends and tie them together. I know other people do different complicated things with weaving in and weaving out and all that stuff. I just tie everything together. Works fine. Just push the knot into the inside of the sock and it's no big deal. On this one I'm going to knit, this is supposed to be the white fur part of his hat. I'm going to knit about 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and just so I don't have to keep coming back every time I change a color. I'm going to do the 1.5 inches the white for his hat, and then I'm going to do about 2 inches, little 2.5 inches for his face. And I'm just going to use I'm using like a peach tone, but you use whatever color skin you want him to have. I'm again using double strands on everything. Also, just for the sake of showing the differences, I am doing this same thing on a smaller size on a regular sock loom so we can compare the differences. when I get it finished. So I'll be doing that. I'm not filming that one, but we'll be contrasting and comparing it. It's basically the same concept for whatever size we're doing. I may make adjustments. The one that's coming out on the sock loom, since it is the pegs are closer together, there are more pegs and they're closer together, I've just been using one strand of yarn of for weight instead of the double like I've been doing on this one. And it is coming out thicker than I had hoped for, but I think they're going to be cute, but they are a very densely knitted slipper sock. And I loom knitted. I actually ended up doing the white, the face, the beard, the top part of the body, and the belt. And then what's left will be more red. Did this top part, and then you're going to knit for approximately 1.5 to 2 inches for the faux fur or the white fur part of his cap. Then you're going to knit for 2 to 2.5 inches for the face, whatever flesh tone you choose. Then you're going to loom knit again for 1.5 inches, 2 inches for the beard, so it's just a stripe. Then about 3 inches on this top part, the top red. And then for the belt, you want to do about 2 inches. And remember, I'm using that modeled sort of brindle gray and black because I was out of black. After we've done that, what's left is the end of the sock, which is going to be about 5 to 6 inches. And I'm just going to loom knit. I'm not doing a heel or a toe on this. I'm just going to sort of cinch part of the bottom of it when we get there, and we'll just sew it closed. So I'm going to continue to loom knit the bottom part for about 5 or 6 inches, and we'll come back when we take it off of the loom and we'll look at how we're going to close that toe on the Santa tube socks. For reference, I went and I knitted an example on a regular sock loom so you could see the difference in the, I guess, density of the yarn. It's the weave is much thicker and closer together than the round loom with the wider pegs. This one knits up very fast. This one, I want to say it took about 6 hours if I would have done it consecutively. This one probably took 2. It was pretty fast. It went up pretty fast. But this one gives you a thicker, you can see there, it's pretty thick finish, but depends on, whatever you want. Both of them I intend to use as slipper socks, so it doesn't really matter, but I just wanted to let you see the difference, what happens when you knit one on the sock loom and one on the other. Obviously I did one for a woman's size 8 and this one's for like a man's size 10, so, or 9 to 11 really is what it would be. And it's slipper socks, so I meant for it to go up mid-calf, so it would be warm. And this one I figured probably would be over socks. This one could be either way. It's dense enough that it doesn't have to be over socks. This one has a little bit more little holes in it. So, but that's the difference, so you can see what it looks like. All right, so let's get on to taking it off of the loom. Left about 18 inches off. We're just going to go around and take this off of our loom. I'm not going to completely cinch it up right here, but I'm going to cinch it part of the way and just do sort of a straight stitch across. I'm just going to do like a whip stitch across the end of it. This is just the difference between being washed and not being washed. So it will shrink up about approximately 2 inches. It's going to shrink. So if it looks giant, that's why it's going to shrink up as soon as you wash it. So I'm just sort of figuring where I'm going to have the nose. You could do the nose first. I got to go get my pink yarn. I left it somewhere too. And from there, I'm just going to sort of decide where I'm going to. I'm not going to go directly over to the other one because it's that peach and I don't want it to show for some. But back here though, I'm going to go sort of weave underneath of them. I got the eyes done. Now I'm going to do the nose. A double strand here. On this one I try to do a little heart, but it's sort of went awry. So I'm just going to aim for the, I think on this one I tried a triangle and it turned more into a circle, so just going to get the nose in there however it turns out here. Okay, again I'm going to do a couple stitches in the back just to secure it. So that is what the slipper socks looks like. This is the washed, the unwashed, so you can see there's a little bit of difference both at the top and the bottom because it shrinks. It's a little narrow after it shrinks. And the comparison on the regular sock loom. So it's a fun project. It's pretty versatile. You can, you know, like I said, you can do the round loom or the sock loom. And you can also get a red, but it's elastic thread, and I have a whole set of different colored ones. I had a different set of pastels, but that wouldn't help me anyway since this is red. But you just sew, if you wanted to put elastic in them, you just in the inside so it doesn't show on the outside, just weave it in and out, in and out, in and out around it, and then pull it a little tight so there's elastic at the top. It's really easy to put in if you want to put it in there. That's an idea if you want to put elastic in it without it being real noticeable. You can just weave, you just sew it in and out around the top until you have it elasticized to the amount that you would like to have it. I'm Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Thanks for joining us for this cute Christmas project, and I hope you're able to whip out some of these socks for your crew for Christmas Eve and Christmas. Talk to you later. Bye.